one company could challenge the juggernaut that was Nintendo, a certain game publisher called Sega. With the blue blur, Sonic the Hedgehog, at their side, they proceeded to fight them for dominance over the gaming industry. While in the beginning they were able to have a fighting chance against Nintendo with their Sega Genesis, CD, and numerous other consoles, as the decade wore on, their popularity began to wane. With the introduction of the Sega Saturn to the world in 1995, and its subsequent lackluster response from the public, it seemed around the world that the company was reaching its end. But, in its home country of Japan, there was hope on the horizon. A franchise, lost to the rest of the world, would be there to save it. Redefining a genre and taking a country by storm, the Sakura Wars were just beginning. Our story begins in 1994 with a phone call. President of Sega, Soichiro Irimajiri, was calling Uji Hiroi, a well-regarded writer and producer, as well as being the founder of the game developer Red Company. Irimajiri wanted to fill the adventure game gap in the Sega Saturn's first-party lineup and thought that Hiroi and his company were fit for the job. Hiroi would agree, and the two started to work at a furious pace, and soon had a mountain full of ideas. Hiroi's first contribution was a scroll of his own calligraphy, a poem he had made to set the tone for the project. Upon seeing a tabletop war game being played in the office, not unlike Dungeons & Dragons, the two decided to add a tactical combat feature to their adventure concept. Early on, they recruited legendary Japanese manga artist Kyosuke Fujishima to lend his sentimental style to the character designs. And Kohei Tanaka, known for his work on the One Piece series, was hired as the composer to provide a fantastical score. Tanaka finished the theme song early, and it served a similar purpose as Hiroi's calligraphy, giving the team a symbol to take to heart. Fujishima brought aboard animator Hidenori Matsubara to help with the massive amount of in-game art and animated sequences. Futoshi Nagata was also brought on to provide the iconic retro-futuristic mech designs the series is known for. Continuing the all-star recruiting, writer Satoru Akahari was brought on board to start on the scripts. Because Akahari felt most comfortable writing anime scripts, he simply wrote it in episodic format, to the degree that at the end of each episode there was a preview of the next one. This was known as an eye catch, a process developed. Akahari wrote and Hiroi edited, to make sure the script fit into his perfectionist vision of the game world. This led to the creation of 4 games worth of scripts, which were then aggressively pruned down to their very best material. The game would star Second Lieutenant Ichiro Ogami, who had just been transferred to Tokyo's secretive combat squadron, the Floral Assault Troop. What follows is what seems to be a bunch of mistaken coincidences. He meets Sakura Shinguchi, a young girl who looks like she shouldn't be in the military, and follows her to her local theater, at her own request. After meeting some of the many main protagonists, he finds that he's been assigned to the theater as a ticket clipper. The theater group's name, Tekko Kekiden, is a play on words, and can either mean Floral Assault Troop or Musical Theater Troupe. So it seems at first that he's been sent here as punishment. But, as crisis hits, the group reveals that it was all a ploy to make sure that he was right for the job, and sends him, and his new team, out to fight the occult threat of the Black Nest Society and their demonic summonings. But as they delved into their game's world and characters, it was soon time to look for the actors to play the roles. Securing a top-notch voice cast was crucial to the game's design. Because music and stage performance are central themes, Uji Hiroi found many of the cast by going to live performances and looking for women who could really sing, rather than going through traditional voice acting agencies. He also sought out people who could speak as if they were singing. That is, people who have a lyrical quality to their voices even when talking normally. The importance placed on the voice acting is evidenced by the precise synchronization of the on-screen portrait's mouth movements to the actual phonemes being spoken, which is still not done in many games today and was near impossible to achieve in 1996. The inspiration behind the game's world and setting is grounded in reality and idealism. Sakura Wars takes place in a romanticized alternate history version of 1920s Tokyo, and nothing says Taisho democracy like a Western-style musical theater interpreted with a Japanese sensibility. The Teiko Kekiden, or Imperial Review, is a musical theater troupe that serves as the protagonist's cover while they pursue secret military operations against the demonic horde. It is heavily inspired by the Takarazuka Review, a real-life theater troupe that has been performing in Kansai for the past century. Both perform spectacular Broadway-style musical theater. Both are all-female, with some women specializing in male roles. Both are divided into subtroupes, including a Hanagumi, or flower troupe. This is the division that Ogami, the protagonist you play as, and the other 6 heroines belong to. The flower theme that comes with the title pervades the series, with all the main characters being named after flowers. Sakura is named after the cherry blossom flower, Iris, the iris flower, Sumire, a type of violet flower, Maria, the type of citrus flower, Kana, a Kana lily, Karan, the crimson orchid, and so forth. The series itself is inspired by the Taisho era, resting in the interwar period between World War I and World War II. After World War I, Japan enjoyed increasing importance and recognition in international affairs. Its urban citizens became more prosperous, cultured, modern, socially aware, independent, and cosmopolitan. This optimistic, romantic Taisho democracy to Hiroi represented the starting point for an ideal future for Japan. He wished to rewind to that moment in history before Japan's loss of innocence in World War II, to a time when Japan was an eminent member of the world community on its own terms, just as much as our culture and Europe's. Everything in Sakura Wars is infused with this Taisho-era flair. Text in the scenes is written from right to left, the custom of the day. Even the game's manuals are printed with their spines on the right side, since left-spined books wouldn't be around for a while. In some of the games, even numbers are written in kanji instead of the modern-day Arabic numerals. This Taisho aesthetic permeates the design, topography, music, and dialogue. This mostly authentic Taisho-era setting is combined with absurdly advanced steam-powered machinery and ryoku, or spirit power, that the protagonist wields. This spirit power also powers the series' iconic mechs, or kobu. This is what makes Sakura Wars unique. The tactical combat took insight not only from tabletop role-playing games, but also from popular video games of the time, such as Tactics Ogre. Using a grid-like system and an isometric view, the player had a set number of actions to use each turn. Instead of commanding an army, a party of 7 was at the player's control. Instead of worrying about how much of an army you have, it was replaced with health bars and magic meters. That's not to say that strategy was completely torn away. Rather, with only 2 moves per turn, you had to plan ahead to make sure that you used those moves well. Traditional experience was also thrown out in favor of having your decisions in the rest of the game affect your party's performance. Outside of combat, however, Sakura Wars' trademark LIPS system, or live interaction picture system, is the main gameplay dialogue mechanic. As you wander the Imperial Theater during day and night, you come across all the game's colorful characters. Whereas in other visual novel-type experiences, you would just sit and watch the story unfold, this time it was your job to determine the outcome. A variety of lips exist in the Sakura Wars world, but in general, you'd be given 3 options and a timer. Choosing the correct choice is just as crucial as choosing the wrong one, and it could affect your relationship with one of the characters positively or negatively. Unlike other visual novels, however, the dating aspect was tossed on the wayside in favor of deeper characters and a stronger story. Generally, it is more important for you to understand the psychology and mindset of the players. Sakura is afraid of lightning, Iris wants to be older, Maria is scarred by the death of her own captain, etc., etc. That is what makes these characters so memorable for people who play the games. With all the pieces in play, it was time for Red Company to unleash the series onto the world, and the results were staggering. What had at times seemed like an overambitious project doomed to failure ended up being a huge hit, selling out on the morning of its release. As the Sega Saturn began to fail in the West, the East said differently. Selling a whopping 550,000 units in its run, the original Sakura Wars cemented itself as an instant success and a classic Sega series among the likes of Sonic the Hedgehog and others. Sakura Wars was truly a fully blown phenomenon, one that Sega had not expected. With a new icon on their side, it was time for Sega to take back Japan from the other companies that had run past it.